Japan colonized Korea and oppressed the Korean people. Even Japanese textbooks are written as such, so many people would think it is true. On the other hand, we hear the following opinion. Japan's rule over Korea has improved Korea and raised the standard of living for its people. It is a lie that Japan has colonized Korea. We wonder which is true? Was Korea a colony? Or was it not a colony? In legal terms, it was a colony. Minobu Tatsukichi, the famous constitution scholar at the time, wrote, "In a legal sense, a colony is a country, which belongs to another country by international law or by the law of the home country, but in principle, the applicable law is different from that of the home country." Although Korea was Japanese territory at the time, the constitution and laws of the home country were not applied in principle. Instead, regulation, which was independently prescribed by the Governor-General of Korea without going through Parliament, was applied. Since the laws applied in Korea and the home country were different, it can be said that Korea was a colony legally. On the other hand, Park Chung-jeom, who was a Korean member of the House of Representatives, said in the Parliament, "I often hear the colony and so on. It is very unpleasant to hear that Korea is a colony from the standpoint of a person who is proud to have become a Japanese citizen like me." Despite the fact that Korea was a colony legally, the Korean congressman claimed, "Don't call Korea a colony," and Japanese congressmen applauded that he was right. What does this mean? At that time, the Korean ruling was carried out in accordance with the will of the emperor called Isedojin, that is, trying to cherish Koreans without discriminating them from Japanese. However, it is a fact that there was discrimination because it was not possible to treat both people immediately and equally when they got the Japanese citizenship. After all, one group is the Japanese who had been Japanese citizens for a long time, and the other is Koreans who have just become new Japanese citizens. However, following government speech suggests that Japan has been working to resolve such discrimination as an administration policy. No one has doubts about the policy of improving the happiness of the Korean-born compatriots in accordance with the will of the Emperor Isedojin, and cooperating to ensure peace in the East. I am quite happy to see, particularly in recent years, the number of Korean-born compatriots who gradually develop themselves in each area, and for example, who pass higher-ranking official exams and get the qualifications to become lawyers, judiciaries, and administrative officials, is increasing. There may be some people who cynically say, "That's a lip service, and he must have a sense of discrimination in his heart." But this speech also suggests that the government and parliament shared the atmosphere that even if one may have a sense of discrimination in his heart, it is not proper to talk about it in public. Instead, they should respect the Koreans as fellow citizens from the Isedojin's point of view. As mentioned above, this is why people applauded the statement of Park Chung-jeom, "Don't call Korea a colony." Even if it was legally a colony, they emotionally didn't see Korea as a colony. The policy of eliminating discrimination can be seen in the suffrage of Koreans at that time. Korean people who moved to the home country, as represented by Park Chung-jeom, had the same suffrage as Japanese people. Besides, there were local councils in Korea, and their suffrage was gradually expanded. In April 1945, the House of Representatives election law was revised. Constituencies for the House of Representatives election were established in Korea. Since Japan lost the war and Korea got independent from the Japanese ruling, the election of the House of Representatives was not realized in Korea. Still, if it were realized in Korea without leaving the Japanese ruling, the members of the House of Representatives of Korean origin would have involved in legislation in the Diet. If representatives of Korea became involved in legislation, the Japanese constitution and laws could have been applied to Korea. As mentioned at the beginning, Korea was legally a colony. It was because, in Korea, the laws of the home country were not applied, but Korea was governed by the laws of the governor of Korea. In other words, if the laws of the home country apply to Korea, Korea will not be a colony in a legal sense. In a dictionary-like sense, A colony means land that has been newly developed economically by immigrants from a country, particularly a subordinated region of the home country. By applying Japanese laws to Korea, it is also possible to say that Korea becomes a part of the home country rather than a subordinated region of the home country. The ruling of Korea by Japan had been advancing in such a way that it was trying to remove the colonial status of Korea. So hypothetically, if the colonial status of Korea is removed and Korea was incorporated into Japan, did Korea completely assimilate to Japan, and the uniqueness of the Korean people was lost? Should it depend on the people of Korea who became voters? If the Korean people, who have gained suffrage and increased the power to speak in Japan, stand up to protect their own traditional culture, Japan would not have been able to ignore it. Of course, allowing the suffrage to Koreans means allowing the Koreans to have a political influence that affects the policy of the Japanese government. Japan has accepted this and has been working to improve Koreans' social status so that it treats Koreans as equal partners of Japanese. In fact, it was true that Korea was a colony legally, but it could be said that it was fundamentally different from the so-called colonial ruling by European sovereign countries, which unilaterally controlled Asian and African colonies. Former U.S. House Representative Mike Honda argues as follows. This is the military of the imperial government, the imperial military's policy, in capturing, coercing and kidnapping girls and women for the purpose of sexual slavery. But please think about the following. While admitting the suffrage of Koreans to improve their social status and to increase the political influence of Koreans in Japan, Japan would stir the hate of Koreans towards Japan by abusing them and making women sex slaves on the other hand. Does it make sense to carry out such a contradictory policy that can be suicidal acts for Japan? As can be seen from the above-mentioned government speech, the main reason Japan annexed Korea was to stabilize the East Asian situation and maintain Japan's security. Despite that, Japan was trying to destabilize the situation on the Korean peninsula, and create many politically influential enemies in Japan. Would he claim so? Many people condemn the past of Japan, and their voices are loud. But the contents of the claims are so ridiculous and stupid. If we are wise, we must pursue the truth calmly without being misled by the hysteric screams and ridiculous performances. Thank you for watching this video through to the end.